Ladies and gentlemen, Barry C here with another cryptocurrency video, and the market really sucks right now. I know, I'm frustrated too. But here's the thing, ladies and gents, when you look at the way the market is right now, when you look at the price of XRP, you can't give up. Because this is exactly what happens right before things start skyrocketing. And this is no way near where I or anyone else thought the market would be right now. We should be at the height of an alt season, seeing prices that far exceed all expectations. But the main thing to look at, ladies and gents, is look at what the narrative is that's being pushed. Look at what people are saying. People are saying XRP is dead, that the market is dead, that there's no alt season. And these are the exact same things people say all throughout the bear market. Now, what the scenario right now clearly shows us is that, especially when it comes to XRP, is to take profits while you can. Now, I know everybody may not have been in the best position possible to actually take profits, but the fascinating thing to me is that, for the longest time in the bear market, when XRP was trading between 30 cents to 50 cents, there were so many people talking a big game. Oh, the second the market starts moving, I've got so much XRP, I'll take some profit. And then XRP started moving November 2024. And a lot of people got very overconfident. It was this whole thing of, well, I'm not even going to consider touching my XRP until it goes to $20 or $50 or $100. Like, I'm going to wait for a much higher price point. When the reality is there were so many people who had the ability to actually take some really great profits, and they didn't because they were married to this specific price point. I was one of the few people who were in the XRP community who actually took profit, and the backlash I got for taking profits was gigantic. People felt I was betraying the XRP army because I wasn't willing to hold XRP to $100 a coin. And the main reason why I was so confident in taking profits, so I've been in crypto since 2016. I've seen 2 bull runs before. I know that when you look at your portfolio, you look at your account where you're holding your crypto, wherever it is you happen to be holding your crypto where you can take your profits, when you see a number that far exceeds your expectations, then there's nothing wrong with actually taking profits. And where you don't want to be is on the other side of that, whether it's on the other side of an alt season, or if it's where we are right now. You don't want to be in a position where we are and go, I wish I'd done things differently. I wish I'd taken some profits. And that's why it's so important to have a plan. And you've heard me mention this time and time again. Have a plan, short term, mid-term, long term. Can you take profits now? Can you take profits the next year, next 2 years, next 5 years, next 10 years? What are your price points? Are they conservative? Are they crazy? Are we talking $5, $10, $20, $100, $1,000, $10,000, maybe more? These are all really important things to consider, because the market doesn't always perform the way we hope it will. It's so important to have that plan and that foundation, so when the market goes up or down or sideways or whatever it's doing, you can pivot, you can be flexible. Because where you don't want to be is where a lot of people have been in the past. And we saw this happen in 2020 and 2021. So many people had bought into this idea of the XRP buyback, as an example. And people were expecting the government to swoop in and say, look, you know what? Banks are going to buy your XRP for $50,000 a coin or $35,000 a coin. And so people over-leveraged themselves, and they took out these gigantic loans, or they went into their life savings, and they started accumulating XRP because they had this belief that they were going to get these insane amounts of money for the XRP they held. And when that didn't unfold, they found themselves in really precarious positions. And in some instances, people are still paying back loans. And a lot of people got really frustrated with XRP, really frustrated with crypto. And instead of taking accountability, they blamed the cryptocurrency itself. And that's just one example of where people put themselves in these positions and they create scenarios where they can't be flexible because they put so much on, the asset doing something very specific, or they over leverage themselves so that the only way they can actually make some money out of XRP is if it goes to like $100 or $1,000 or maybe more. And like I said, ladies and gents, everybody has their own strategy. Everybody has a dollar amount that's actually going to make a life-changing position for them. And that's okay. Not everybody has been in crypto as long as, let's say, I have. And so it makes more sense. I've had a lot longer to accumulate XRP, and so for me, I could take profits at $2 or $3 because I built my bags and I had made my plan and I had sectioned off my XRP holdings in a way where I could take profit at $2, $3, and then $5, $10, $20, $100, $1,000, short term, mid-term, and long term. And so as frustrating as the market is right now, I'm not in a position where I look at, 4 or 5 months ago and I say, I wish I'd done things differently. Because I've been there before. 2016 into 2017 into 2018, I made a lot of mistakes. Even in 2020 and 2021, where I took some really amazing profits, but even then I still made a lot of mistakes with a lot of cryptos. And in 2024, when the market started moving, I was determined not to make that mistake again. And interestingly enough, I'd made a whole bunch of videos for a solid year leading up to November 2024, where I specifically stated this is where the market was going to go, and I have a plan and I'm ready to take XRP profits. And once again, you see the same negativity, people going, you'll never make any profits, XRP is not going anywhere, nothing's going to happen in November. And then sure enough, the market moved. And that was based on years and years and years of experience. And that's why I'm here now making this content saying, look, as quickly as the market can dip, it can also turn around. And now here's the thing. This market dip is a really unique opportunity because we're seeing buy prices for crypto that were cheaper than some parts of the bear market. And ladies and gents, not financial advice, but if you think back to November of 2024, when XRP was absolutely going parabolic and the first leg of the alt season was kicking in, well, the first leg of the bull run, the second leg is the alt season. But the main sentiment when XRP was leading the market was a majority of people saying, I wish I'd bought more XRP, or I wish I'd bought crypto. And in some instances was people saying, I wish I'd bought XRP in the first place. And that's the thing, ladies and gents, it's very easy at the height of an alt season or at the height of a bull run to look back and go, if I could just go back and do some buying, because now you're seeing the price skyrocket and you're seeing that proof in the crypto based on the price. Because it's very difficult to look at a 30-cent XRP and think, well, this could be worth a lot of money one day because it's been trading sideways for 3.5 years. But when it goes from 30 cents to 50 cents to $1, $2, $2.50, $2.60, $2.70, and it shows no sign of slowing down, well, then that's when the excitement kicks in. And then it becomes very, very, very possible and plausible that XRP could go even higher. And then you look back and you go, oh, have I just done things differently? And you can say that about a lot of cryptos actually in November of 2024. And it's a lot more difficult than where we are now, like sitting at these prices going, I'm going to accumulate now because it may go back up. It's very difficult to see that path forward for a lot of people. And for me personally, that's why I try to hold on to that feeling of I could have done more, or I wish I could have done things differently, that a lot of people felt in 2024 when November. I felt that way as well, despite my years and years and years of accumulation. After my initial euphoria, one of the first thoughts I had was, oh, I should have bought more XRP. Despite the fact I could take profits at like $2.60, $2.70. Like that was a really amazing moment. But I still had that thought, I wish I'd done more. And like I said, not financial advice, but this dip and the way the market's moving, this is that opportunity. The opportunity that people were desperate for in November 2024, we have it right now. We have really cheap entry points in the XRP and a bunch of other cryptos. And it's going to be really interesting over the next couple of months when the market turns around, when XRP starts skyrocketing, and people will look back on February, March, April and think to themselves, I could have bought cheaper. I should have bought cheaper. Once again, I wish I'd done things differently. And this is the same mistake people make every bull run. It's been that way since 2017 till now. And you can argue that the market has grown and evolved and there's a lot more crypto available and a lot more awareness and a lot more understanding and a lot more money in the space. It hasn't changed the mistakes people are making. People are making the same mistakes when XRP was less than 1 cent a coin back in 2017, making the same mistakes now in 2025. And that's the reason why I make this content. That's the reason why, despite the frustration, despite the negativity, it's worth highlighting this stuff. Because here's the thing, the market will turn around. We'll see crypto start moving back upwards. It'll start going parabolic. XRP is going to go absolutely crazy. We're going to see some really big price points. And that's when all the positivity will start again. That's when all the content creation will start again. And look, realistically, it doesn't really help many people at the height of an alt season. If XRP goes from $2 to $20 or $2 to $100, and then when it gets to the $100 price point and people are saying, hey, if only you bought some XRP, you could have made some amazing profits. It doesn't help people after the fact. What helps people is right now. And I know because I've been there. I've been at the lowest depths of a bear market where there's no sunlight or no faith and no potential in sight. There's no remedy to the horrific prices we're seeing. And unfortunately, it can be really difficult when there's not people out there with experience or people out there who are saying, look, this is the way the market works. This is the way things could unfold, especially when it comes to a project like XRP. Because there's always a reason not to buy XRP. Once again, it's been that way since 2017 until now. And ladies and gents, it's not like I have this crystal ball. It's just the perspective of someone who's been in crypto since 2016. I've seen the way the markets have grown and evolved. I've seen the bull runs and the bear markets and the Bitcoin halvings and the post-halving bull runs and the alt seasons and the bear markets and so on and so forth. I've seen XRP go from 0.006 to $3.80 in the space of a year. I've seen XRP grow and evolve, and I've seen it do exceptionally well every bull run, every alt season. We've seen parabolic price movement for XRP. And every year that goes past, XRP becomes more and more expensive. The entry point in the XRP was less than 1 cent in 2017. 2018, now you're paying 10 cents. By 2020, you're paying 19 cents. 2021 until 2024, you're paying anywhere between 30 cents and 50 cents. Now, you're paying $2, $1.80, $1.90. That's still a long way from 1 cent a coin. And this is what people lose sight of. People are sitting here panicking and frustrated. And look, that's fair enough. But if you take a step back and think to yourself, well, look, at least we haven't dipped back down to 30 cents. So we're already ahead of the game. And we haven't seen an alt season yet. And there's never been a time in crypto where we haven't seen a bull run finish off with an alt season. And there's never been a time in crypto where XRP hasn't performed exceptionally well in that alt season. We still have time. And that's why it's so important to sometimes take a step back and go, okay, there's a lot of negativity in the market. There's a lot of frustration. And, maybe it's good to take a break for a couple of days or a week and just go, look, I'm not even going to think about crypto. Or take a step back and reevaluate your plan and go, look, this is where I anticipated I would be. And we're not there yet. And so I need to reassess my timeframes. Maybe I need to be taking profits sooner. Maybe you built a really impressive XRP bag and you were in a really great position November 2024 to take some profits, but maybe you kind of got suckered into the whole idea of, well, it could go to $100 or $50, so maybe I won't touch it just yet. Maybe it's time to reassess the take profit points. And these are all things that you can do while the market is down. And look, I've mentioned this in previous videos, and I think it's definitely worth repeating, but not financial advice, of course. But if you're in a situation where you do have some resources on the sideline, if you do have some dry powder, this is the perfect time to accumulate. And for those of you who have exhausted all your resources and you can't accumulate further, it's the perfect time to hold. As long as you're in the market, as long as you're not compromising your position, you will be in the best position possible when XRP and the market turns around. It's the people making panic decisions right now, people who are selling, who are swapping into other coins, trying to chase a pump, people who are just abandoning their crypto and saying, you know what, I'm not even going to look at it for another 4 years. Those are the people who in about 2 to 3 months from now are going to be filled with regret. And they'll have the same sentiment that people had in November 2024. They will say to themselves, I wish I'd done things differently. Now, ladies and gents, as always, none of this is financial advice. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're curious about the other cryptos I hold outside of XRP, consider becoming a Patreon. Click the link in the description below, head across to my Patreon page, and consider becoming a Barry C VIP. There you'll have access to all my cryptos, as well as my buy, sell, and take profit signals in real time.